told you, there's no limits to achieving your dreams. My name is Kayleigh O'Connell. I'm 21 years old, not 25. But I want to share with you today my journey and how I've been able to move abroad over the last 5 years. Professional mobility is an important topic since it allows you to grow, to develop as a person, and to achieve greater things. For a bit of context, I was born and raised in Mexico up until I was 16. And luckily, I've always had everything I needed as a child. I had a loving family, I had friends, I had stability. I never lacked anything in life. However, since probably the age of 13, I started to develop this sensation of wanting more freedom, to achieve better things, to explore the world, to do something different with my life. Maybe something that my family never taught me really. When I was 14, I went to the shopping center with my friends. And that day, I was just hanging out with my friends, normal things, going to the cinema. And since we were walking on the hall of the shopping center, and out of nowhere we hear gunshots. Businesses start closing down, people start to run, and I could not understand what was going on. I was terrified as a kid. I couldn't realize what was going on. We were on the top floor, we go back down to the ground floor. We start to look around and we look at our nearest exit. There was somebody dead on the ground by the entrance of the shopping center. Since that day, I realized I wanted to do something different with my life. I wanted to move abroad. I wanted to be able to be free. If you're familiar with the situation in Mexico, it is not a safe country. At least 7 women get killed a day. So I knew that if I wanted to experience something more, I would have to leave my home country and move abroad. At the age of 16, I finally convinced my parents to let me move abroad because I have family in Ireland. It was a perfect opportunity to move abroad, to something different with my life. I decided to move in with my dad's side of the family. The first couple of months, I decided to start school in Ireland. I met new people, I met new friends, I got my first job. Everything was going perfect. However, I did not get on well with my dad's family. So what did I mean? I had to move out of the house. So that left me with 2 options when I was 17. Either moved out, back to my home country, or I decided to go somewhere else in Ireland. But I was underage, it was impossible for me to move somewhere else. Where would I go? But lucky enough, I decided that host families were a thing. So I started to do my research and I started to look at my options. And I started to contact people and, just trying to gain something different, Sorry. I started to do my research and then I found the perfect host family that I could live with. And that host family decided to take me in. Sorry. Yeah, so I decided to stay with that host family. And I moved out. I continued my studies and everything was going great. However, I started to pay bills. I was renting with a host family. And when I was renting, I was doing my job, I was going to school, and the whole time I did not have support from my family. Because if you're aware with the situation in Mexico, the economy is not great. It does not compare to the economy in Ireland. So my family would help me with whatever they could, but then we reached a breaking point, which was the pandemic. So with the pandemic, everybody lost their jobs, or at least a lot of people lost their jobs. They were temporarily laid off from work. So what did people do? They went on unemployment payment. But my family was not lucky enough to have any of that. And me, unfortunately, I still had bills to pay, and I still needed to get my rent done. I still needed to pay for my groceries. I still had to get everything done. However, I was 17. I tried to apply for COVID payment. What happened? I was rejected. Why did I get rejected? Because I did not reach the age of 18. So when this happened, I had to look for a different way on how to sustain myself, how to be able to pay my bills, how to go to school. It was school online, but I still had to get my studies done and out of the way. So what happened was that I had to look for a different job that I could, get cash in hand. So I started to network, ask everybody that I knew. I got a job. I started cleaning apartments. It was not a great job, but it was what helped me be able to continue my journey. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have done. The pandemic was over. Life started to settle down. I was still in school. I was in my last year of school, so I was in 6th year. I was still working my job. I was still paying my bills. I was still doing everything that I had to do. But in December 2022, I reached the point where I was not in a good environment. I was living alone. I was surrounding myself with bad people. I developed, a lot of mental health issues. I was not in a great space. So what happened was that I came to the realization that being in Ireland was just not for me anymore. So in that moment, I realized I needed support from my family. I needed support from the people that I love to go back to the person who I was before I encountered all these obstacles. I went back to my family, but this time, instead of going back to Mexico, I moved back to the United States. So I stayed in the United States for about a year. I went specifically to Texas, so it was a cultural shock going from Ireland to Texas. It was something out of my mind. People that I encountered, it was something completely different. So I went to school there because I left in the middle of the school year when I was in Ireland. I had to repeat a year in the US. So that's what I did. I got 2 jobs while I was there. I was with my mom's side of the family. I was not with my parents, but I was with my mom's side of the family. And during that time, I learned, a lot about cultural differences, and I met a lot of amazing people. I learned so much about myself and the person who I became while I was in Ireland, and I finally recovered everything that I had lost in my essence, my personality, everything. I recovered that. But I realized that, unfortunately, the US was not for me. I'm sorry if this offends anyone. It was not for me. So I wanted to continue my studies. So I had 2 options. Or I moved back home to Mexico, or I figured out a way to come back to Europe or come back to Ireland to continue my studies. Studying in the US, as you know, is like extremely expensive. So that was just not an option for me. Back in October 2022, I went back home. I was with my mom in the car. We were driving. I was just visiting. Well, she was driving in the middle of the road at 6 a.m. on a random day. Out of nowhere, 2 guys on a motorbike stopped right in front of us on the road. On a bump road, my mom had to stop. These guys, they get up the motorbike and they pulled out a gun on us. And that day, I don't know what happened, but my mom just started speeding. If it took maybe like 5 seconds longer, I don't know if I'd be here today. But that day I realized, no way I'm going back home. That's not an option, and I don't want to give up on my dreams. I don't want to give up on my freedom and everything that I've worked so hard to achieve. So I told myself, that day, I am going to find a way to come back to Ireland and do whatever I can in my hands to be the person who I am now. Yeah. So that day, I went back home and I looked up on Google how to move abroad for free. And maybe I was crazy, but I figured out every single way that I could to come back to Ireland. I had no money. I didn't know where I was going to rent. Rent in Ireland is so expensive, especially in Dublin. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I was not sure how I'd be able to get to where I am now. But lucky enough, I found something called au pairing. If you don't know what an au pair is, it's basically a babysitter abroad. So I told myself, okay, I'm going to get a rich family to pay for my flights to Europe. And I'm going to work and save money so I can come back to Ireland and study. So that's what I did. I had to look for opportunities and open doors for myself. So I went to Germany. Never thought crossed my mind that I'd be going to Germany. But I went to Germany, and during that time that I went to Germany, I did not only encounter a lot of different people, and I learned a whole different culture, I developed the skills to adapt to a different language. Don't ask me about German grammar though, because that's like completely difficult. But I learned different a different language. I did different, activities with different people. I met people from all over the world. I was able to travel Europe by myself. And then I decided I'm going to go back to Ireland. So a year ago, I came back to Ireland because I didn't finish my school here. I did not have the requirements to study here. So what I did was I did a PLC course. So that's basically an extra year of education that allows you to apply for university here. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to get into university, no matter how long it takes me, and no matter how hard it is. So that's what I did. I applied for university this year, and luckily I got in. I'm in my first year of international business. And something that I want to say to all of you today is that you have to take risks. When everything, seems like it's not possible, I assure you it is possible. You have to believe in yourself that everything that you plan to do in life will work out. You have to build opportunities for yourself as well. I did not have the tools to be where I am now if I didn't look for those opportunities. You have to open those doors for yourself. You have to do all the things, to get to where you are now. There's no dream so big or so small. Let me tell you, Steve Jobs is a prime example. He was a college dropout at 21, started his business at his father's garage, and now look at Apple. How many of us have an iPhone or had a MacBook? Or how many people do we know that actually own those products? He was a college dropout. He was young, didn't have anything to start with, and now look at Apple. It's $1 trillion company. So that's what I want to say. You are the person that builds your opportunities. You are the person that you have to develop, everything in order to achieve your goals. Having professional agility in this world is extremely important because it allows you to achieve greater things. Thank you.